welcome back. Here we are to continue talking about CSS. In the last video, we went over the box model and we experimented with the box model. Let's take the ideas from this example here and apply them in a practical way, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the Zen Garden page. Let's look at where they maybe use some of those ideas in this page, right? So the idea here is what I want to do is create a button. So the challenge for you is to create some buttons on your Zen Garden page. So design them, and you can make anything look like a button. In my case, I'm going to just suggest we don't actually have a button tag, but I'm going to suggest that we use an anchor tag. Okay. So there's several anchor tags on the Zen Garden page. Some of them maybe we just want to use make them text links, but other ones could be good as buttons. Here I've given some sample CSS that shows just kind of a formula that you could use to create a button. Okay, we can use display inline block. Okay, so an inline block is an inline element that can display itself like a block. So it gets all the features like padding and margin and border and stuff, right? But it still follows the flow of words in a paragraph, okay? And we need that because the anchor tag by default is display inline, okay? And then we'll add some padding to push the area away from the content, and then some margin to give us some space around the button, right? And then maybe a border. This is kind of, you might want to change this up depending on your situation. Maybe give the border a radius to make it rounded corners, give it a background color, text decoration, and some other options, okay? Let's apply this. Actually, first let's look for some places where this may have already been done in the Zen Garden site. So looking at the Zen Garden page, you can see view all designs, and this little arrow right here kind of are nice, right? What are those, right? So those are actually, let's see if we can find those, right? Where is that? View all designs. I'm trying to find that in here. I know that's in here. Let me do find view all designs. Here it is, right? Oh, look, it's just an anchor tag, view all, right? So they did some tricks to put it up in this corner, but generally just to get the shape of this box was, just styling this anchor tag with some padding, a background color, and then they styled the text, okay? Let's look at a couple more. So I think Apothecary, this theme right here, has some interesting use of buttons. Another good place actually for this, let me go back, right? So another good place to create buttons is for these 5 links here: view designs, or view this design, CSS resources, FAQ, submit a design, and translations. So here, these don't really look like buttons, though they kind of do, maybe with the border up on the top and bottom, right? So these kind of look more like text links. But if we look at the Apothecary here, if I scroll down and I find those links at the bottom here, I think they appear here. These kind of look more like buttons, right? So they kind of style a little different than the other ones, just got a background color and the color of the text. Let's look at another one too. I'm going to go to the next designs here, and there's one, it's called Make 'em Proud, right? So I'm going to click on this one, and if I scroll down, these right here are the same links that we just saw. So this is the, I forget, this is like submit a design or view the CSS. One of these is like about accessibility, right? I forget what these are, but the, because they labeled them a little differently here, but these are the same 5 links, but they look totally different, okay? In this case, they're using a background image to get this picture on there, and I'm going to talk about that later. But generally, we could style a button to look similar to this with a double border and a background color, right? And give it a height and a width and rounded corners. So let's give it a try just for fun in our page, right? So I'm going to look at the page I have, and what I'd like to do is I'd like to style these links right here, okay? And for me, those links fall in the footer. So the footer isn't actually at the bottom, it's in a tag called footer in here. I'm going to go find it. here, right? Footer, okay? So inside footer, we have an anchor tag, and then these all have like title and class name, Zen validate HTML, Zen validate CSS, right? We actually don't even need that. This is the only footer on the page, and then we have an anchor tag. So maybe let's go to our style sheet, and I should really put some comments in here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to access the tag, use child to get to the anchor tag, okay? So that should give me a selector that selects each one of these 5 links, okay? So let me move this out of the way and kind of arrange my page a little bit here. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to set display to block. And when I do that, actually, let me, I think maybe this is not updating. Let me reload that, right? Just to make sure. Oops, wait, I got the wrong page there. Let me I want this guy right here. There we go. Oh yeah, so now it's updating, right? So now you see as soon as I set those to display block, they all stack up vertically, right? Okay, let's change this just for fun. Let's make it inline block. Now they're gonna act like inline elements, but they're gonna be block elements, right? So as block, we can set like the padding and the border and the margin and things like that, and the width and height. So maybe let's try and make them look like a circle with a border, right? So and we'll give them some area too. So I feel like anything clickable, you want to make it larger so people have an easier time to get to it. So if it's an important link especially, right? So why don't we give it some padding, right? Or maybe actually, since we're going to do a circle, let's make them the same size. So I'll say, how about width of, let's go with 100 pixels just to start with, okay? And then we'll do height of 100 pixels. And then we'll do, let's do background color, and I'll give them a color here. We can just give them like any color now. I'll just make them beige for now, right? So now I can just see them, right? And maybe let's do a border radius, right? And we can do 50%, right? And then that should make them into a circle. And now the goal is to get the text to fall in the middle, okay? And there's a couple ways you can do this. I kind of like using Flex for that, but I'm going to do Flex in another video. So we'll actually talk about Flex as a whole topic, right? But for right now, using the tools that we have, we can do text align. So if I do text align center, that works for the horizontal alignment, but there isn't a vertical text align to my knowledge. Maybe there is. I don't remember it though. So the other thing you can do here is you can do line height. So if I know that the box is 100 pixels tall and I set the line height to 100 pixels, the text should be in the center, okay? So there we go. So why don't we, so that's kind of just like a quick formula, and we could give it a hover style too. Maybe we'll cover that later, but for right now, we'll just kind of style the basic look, right? So the challenge to you is to find some elements in the page that would be good as buttons. So these 5 links right here would be good. The archives, actually next design and all designs would be good as buttons. If I go to the Zen Garden page, and I'm going to go back to this apothecary design, you'll notice that they kind of did that over here, right? So the previous design and next design, they have this little picture in there as kind of a hand, but that's actually a button. So this is like the next and previous designs, right? That's how they handled it, right? So those would be good as buttons. What else did they do here? What else would be good as a button, you know? Let me think here. Trying to think what else would be good. Maybe this HTML and CSS file might be good, right? Those could be buttons. That might be a good looking button, right? I don't know. I'll leave it up to you. Get creative, right? Let's think. What else can we do here? Why don't we, just for fun, while we're talking about it, let's put a border on there, right? So let's experiment with border. So border property has a couple properties, right? The default color for the border, by the way, will be the color of the text. Okay, so whatever color is for this element that is the text is what it's going to use for the border color, right? The other thing is the border has a width, so you can set the width of it. Let's make this one like 5 pixels just for fun, right? And you'll notice I did that and nothing happens, right? Because we need to set this other property called border style. So this is like what kind of border. So I'm going to do maybe the double. Let's do double style right there. So now you can see that since the text color is tomato, the double border is going to be tomato also, and that'll be 5 pixels thick, right? Maybe I need like a little bit of space in between these. So let's do, remember margin goes outside, right? So I'll put margin here, and let's give it a margin of 10 pixels or something, right? So that's not looking too bad, right? And if we wanted to lay these out like in the middle of the page or something, we could do that with Flex Box. And we'll, like I said, we'll cover that in the next videos. Okay. So anyway, so my challenge to you now is to, you can take a look at my notes here. You can take a look at the Zen Garden page for some inspiration. And then your challenge is to find some things that you can style as buttons, right, on the page. So any of the links is eligible, right? And again, thanks for watching and have a nice day. Good luck with your Zen Garden pages, okay?